Welcome back to Seniors in Action. Today we're going to talk about family history or genealogy work and how you can do that to stay active. It's fun work. It's fascinating work in a lot of ways, and at times it's even heartbreaking when you see children dying young as you're doing this type of work. So let's go ahead and get to the affiliate disclaimer. And I don't think I need to say much about that other than if you click on a link in the description field of this video, we make some money. And so we like that. So if you're inclined to do it, go ahead and do it. All right, let's get started with this stuff. It's, like I say, it is fascinating work when you find where your people came from and what they've done and the struggles they had. And so the best way to start with this stuff is to gather all your family records. So now you may have them, your sister may have them, you may have family Bibles around or something like that, but you start with your family records that you have. And I know my grandfather was very good about keeping obituaries of everybody that had passed away in the family, and that was very helpful. And we had an old family Bible where things were recorded, and that was very helpful in getting started. But so the information that you need to start collecting is your parents' names, your children, well, start with your immediate family and record your parents' names, their birth dates. If they're passed away, their death dates. Record each of your siblings' birth dates, and of course you need to know where they were born, and if any have passed away, record that. And get photographs. Get photographs and stories if you can about these people, and because that's very interesting, and it'll be very interesting to your children as well. So if you need to, talk to other family members and get them involved if they will get involved. There's usually somebody in the family that has done some of this type of work in the past and may have quite a bit of information for you. But some of the helpful information that you look at are family Bibles, as I mentioned, obituaries that may have been saved over the years, birth and death certificates that may have been saved, family photographs. You might do an interview with a member of your family because, we've got a bunch of family pictures that we don't know who they are. And unfortunately, my mother and father have passed away. And they were probably the only ones that could have told us who these people are. And so we've got pictures, and we can't attach names to them. So you have to get some of this information while the people are alive, because once they're gone, that information is gone. So census records are very good. Now, census records will tell you, will give you an approximation of where the family was at a particular period in time, how many members of the family there were. It'll let you estimate possibly their birth dates and how many were in the home. That doesn't mean that they were all members of the family that were in the home. But so census records are very good until you get back in the early 1800s and you're beyond the census records. And then the census records don't help you a great deal, but they're very good in getting started. So family histories, if any of your members have written a family history or anything. We had a member in our family who was a professor at a university, and she actually kept a lot of documentation and family histories about our family, which has been very helpful. Genealogy departments in your local libraries, sometimes they have a genealogy department, sometimes they don't, but some of them are very good. You can get published histories of your community or something like that, and sometimes they mention records of your family in there. Online genealogy sites are excellent, and they're getting better and better, and I'll mention some of those as we go through this. Military records are very helpful in defining age and just what happened, what these people were doing. Passenger lists on ship manifests, and people coming over from England or whatever to the United States. They can be tracked on from passenger records. And of course, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has family history centers in most of their what they call stake centers. And it's very interesting. they have a different reason for doing family history than what most people do. But about 90% of the people, last time I heard, that used those family history centers were non-members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So feel free to go in there, and they welcome you. So they're nice centers, and they have a lot of information, and they can get a lot of information from the main depositories in Salt Lake if you need them. Now, we used to have to go and get video or microfiche. Anymore, we don't have to do microfiche as much because most everything is online, and you can use an online site. So they're not as valuable as they once were, but they're still very helpful. And the people in there can be very helpful in teaching you how to do family history. So one thing you do is you organize your findings. Once you've gone through your records, your family history records that you've got around the home and stuff, your personal records, organize them into families. And then get the dates that you need for each person in that family, and link that family up by your common ancestor to the next family. So you start off by your family, then you start off by your parents' family, okay? And then you'll link, you have another link for your dad and his family when he was a child, and your mother and her family when she was a child, and just continue going back. But you've got to organize this stuff and retain it somewhere. So most people use family group sheets or family group records and pedigree charts. And so I've got an example of a family group record next. And you can see at the top of this, the parents, the husband is there with his information. The wife is there with her information. This happens to be an LDS form, so they've got information there for their ordinances that they do, but you don't have to have LDS forms necessarily to do this. So, and you've also got the children down there. Now this only lists 2, but this particular form had enough on it to list about 10 children, and this, you're not seeing the whole form here because I couldn't get it on the slide. But so family group records are excellent in organizing your family data, and it gives you a great start so that you can then start to use something else to organize your data, which is actually better than writing it down. But so let's look at a pedigree chart too. So pedigree charts actually take you from one generation to the next, linking you yourself. So if you're in one generation, you go back to the next generation, back to the next generation. Not nearly as much information on there as a family group record, but they have more information. So you can see on this one sheet, there's 6 generations here of family, and it also branches out to both sides of the family, and multiple sides of the family in this case. So you can get an overall picture of what you're trying to do with these family pedigree charts, and so you might want to start there, and then as you get this filled out, you start doing your family group sheets for each family that you can find, and getting all the dates and everything that's necessary so that you can identify those people and where they lived and what their lives were like. Now let's go on and see another method of organizing, and this is the use of family software, family history software, genealogy software, and also family history sites, okay? Because a lot of the software has gone to just a online site now, and so I've listed a couple of online sites. Family Search is excellent. It's owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but they allow non-members to use that site. Ancestry is very good. MyHeritage is good. Find My Past, and there are other good online sites. And the advantage of these online sites, a lot of them, is that you can not only store your records in there and organize your records in there, but you can put in pictures, you can put in stories, which is much harder to do when you're using a printed family group sheet or a printed pedigree chart. It used to be that we kept these things in giant books called books of remembrance, but we don't have to do that anymore. So we've got online sites that we can do this, and I know Family Search will allow you to do that. Ancestry will allow you to keep your own family tree in there. MyHeritage does, I think, too. So, but they also allow you to keep all this other information like photographs and stories, and so they're very helpful. Now, as far as software goes, Roots Magic, I've used Roots Magic for quite a long time. It's very good. I don't use it as much anymore because I'm using Family Search, but Roots Magic is good. Family Tree Builder, Family Tree Maker, Family Historian, all those will help you organize your data into family group records and pedigree charts again, like I said, because that's basically the approach for the software too, is to organize a family into a family group sheet or a family group record, and then also into pedigree charts. So that's the way you organize your data, and it's very important to do so. So once you've got your data organized, then you need to share your results with other people. And it's very important to do this. And by sharing your results, I think you're going to inspire some of your other members, family members, to help you out. Ask them to give you pictures when you share those results, additional pictures, so that you can keep working on this. This is a never-ending task. I mean, you can go back, you can keep doing this for the rest of your life, because it is very hard to get back to Adam and Eve. So if you can get back to the 1600s, you're doing very, very well. But and some families can actually link into genealogies of royalty and stuff like that and go way, way back further. But so ask for additional pictures when you share it. And also it's important to share it, because if you don't share it, it may just end with you. Because if your children aren't interested in family history, your family history work might just be lost in the shuffle, and when you pass away, there may not be anybody interested in it. If you share it, there's a much better chance that that family history will be retained and picked up by somebody else and continued on. So that's a very brief introduction to doing genealogy work or family history work. I appreciate you tuning in, and this is good work. I mean, like I say, I have enjoyed doing family history work. I've done it most of my life, and my mother got very involved in it, and so it is very satisfying to find a family and to find out where they lived and how they were living and what they did, whether they were farmers or whatever. And you'll find that families back then had big families, lots of kids, because many of them were farmers in agriculture, and just a fascinating subject. It'll keep you active. It'll keep you mentally active. So stay active. We are Seniors in Action, and thank you for tuning in.